Hello everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of my podcast, Wild Wanderer, where I answer your hiking and outdoor related questions. Be sure to look at the description for links to my website, book, and helpful links to topics I'll be discussing today, including videos of some of my wild animal encounters. Another question I get asked a lot, because I hike solo, is aren't you afraid of running into wild animals when you're out there by yourself? When I first started hiking solo, I was a bit apprehensive about animals, but I quickly came to find seeing a dangerous wild animal while hiking is rare. Most predators hunt at night and sleep during the day, and the animals I do see are usually running away from me. I like to tell people I see a lot of butts. Deer butts, bear butts, mountain goat butts, squirrel butts, you get the point. Most wild animals will run away from you, and you should let them. While most animals are active at night, many are active during the day as well. And they use the same trail we do for obvious reasons. It's a clear path. In fact, many of the trails we use were first animal trails that we converted into human trails, so we should respect their space. It was their space first. When I'm pointing out animals to kids, they often ask me if that animal can bite. My response is always the same. Anything with a mouth can bite. So, what do you do when you come across a wild animal? I'm going to try to make this easy for you if you live in Colorado or you're visiting Colorado. The only animal you run away from in Colorado is a moose. I see a lot of moose on the trails, especially in the fall. I've seen probably 200 moose while hiking, and only 2 of them were what I'd call aggressive. They have really poor eyesight and they're curious. Normally they just want to see if you're a threat. If you see a moose, don't approach it. If it charges you, it thinks you're a threat, so you should run, and you should run fast. Run and hide behind the nearest tree or boulder, or if none are around, curl up into a ball. They're nearsighted, so once they can't see you anymore, they tend to turn around and go away. Once you're out of their territory, they will usually leave you alone. Now, we can't go over every animal in Colorado, so I'm just going to pick a few of the more common ones that people ask me about. Remember, never approach wildlife. You should always respect their space and keep your distance. So the number 1 animal people ask me about, if I'm afraid of, are mountain lions. Now, I've been on thousands of hikes and I've only encountered 2 mountain lions in Colorado, so I can tell your chances of actually seeing one are slim. I do see tons of tracks, however, so I know they're out there. We just aren't their prey, so they don't bother us. The few attacks I have heard of involve cubs, where the mama was just protecting her babies, or sick or a young lion acting unnaturally. If you happen to see a mountain lion, don't run. You want them to know you're not their prey. If you run, their predator instincts will kick in and they're going to chase you. So instead, stand your ground, make yourself big, raise your trekking pole in the air and wave it or throw things, yell loudly, and make yourself look threatening. It doesn't matter what you say, just yell. Pretend you're a toddler throwing a tantrum. We also have lynx and bobcat in Colorado, but they're really quite elusive. I've only seen one of each, and they both quickly ran away. I saw the bobcat as I was hiking at around 13,000 feet very early in the morning, and I must have startled him. He looked grumpy. To me, they always look grumpy, but he looked especially grumpy. So I saw him when we were about 15 feet away from each other. I stopped, and we watched each other for a few seconds before I talked to him, and I asked, well, are you going to go or are you going to stay? And that must have startled him out of his thoughts, because he immediately turned tail and just ran away. And I was lucky enough to catch that encounter on video. So if you subscribe to my Instagram account, you can see that one or watch it play after this episode, along with a few other videos I have of some of my wildlife encounters. If you want to hear about my mountain lion encounters, those are longer ones and those are detailed in my book. The next animal most people are afraid of encountering on trails are bears. Now in Colorado, we have black bears, not grizzly bears. Black bears are more docile and usually just interested in your food, which is why good food storage is a must. Now, unless you've been rolling in beef jerky, they want nothing to do with you and will usually run away. Every black bear I've encountered has run away too quickly for me to actually react. Now, if they don't run away, you want to make yourself big, yell, and throw things. Toddler tantrum. They're usually only dangerous if they have cubs around or if you stand between them and food. If there are cubs around, make sure you never get between mama and babies, as that will make the mama bear aggressive. Now, if they're already eating your food, it is theirs now. It is now their food. Do not try to get it back. At the lower elevations, we have rattlesnakes in Colorado. So they hunt at night and sun themselves on the rocks during the day. Sunning themselves helps them digest their food and stay warm. You should always be aware of your surroundings and listen for the telltale rattle sound they make. That rattle sound is to warn you that they're there so that you'll back away. They don't really want to bite you. I mean, they will to defend themselves, but that's not what they want to do. And I found that the babies are more dangerous than the adults because they haven't yet learned how to control how much venom to use when striking. So make sure you can see where you're placing your hands and feet while scrambling on rocks so you don't surprise them. And look for them sunning themselves along the trail. Just like rattlesnakes, at the lower elevations, we also have tarantulas in Colorado. These guys migrate in the fall to mate. Generally, if you see a tarantula on the trails in the fall, it's a male because the females will stay in their burrows. And you can tell it's a male because it has 10 legs instead of 8. He has 2 extra pinchers in the front. Now, tarantulas are slow moving and pretty docile. Some will even let you pick them up, but don't do it. I mean, they can bite and it feels like a bee sting when they bite. Now, if you're alpine hiking in Colorado, there's a good chance you'll see mountain goats. Now, mountain goats are very docile. So docile, people often try to pet them. However, their horns are dangerous, and they can hurt you without intending to if you get too close. Say you try to pet one when their head is down and they jerk their heads back up. Remember, both males and females have horns, and this would not end well for you. Bighorn sheep, however, tend to run away from you before you get a chance to even know they're there. I usually hear the rocks scatter as they're running away before actually seeing them. They blend in really well. If they don't run away, give them their space and stay clear of their horns. The deer in Colorado are usually calm and will watch you as you're hiking. A lot of people think they're safe to approach because they're so calm, but they're not. Their hooves and antlers are still very dangerous. Any animals with hooves or antlers or horns or a mouth is dangerous, and all wildlife should be left alone. While the deer in Colorado are pretty docile, the elk are skittish. For those of you that haven't seen an elk in person, they're about the size of a horse and they can be imposing. Give them a respectable distance, and once again, be wary of hooves and antlers. Now, porcupines are common along the roadsides and mountain passes of Colorado. They like to get under parked cars and chew on the wires. They are destructive little boogers. They move really slowly, and they smell like a fairgoer who's been out in the sun all day and hasn't had a bath all week. They stink, and they kind of waddle. But you should still be clear of them because they have quills that can be dangerous. I've seen many dogs who were a little too curious around a porcupine get a face full of quills, which are very difficult and painful to remove. Now, they recently reintroduced wolves into Colorado, but so far I haven't seen any while hiking. I've been told if I do see one to talk calmly, yet firmly to it, and make enough eye contact so that it knows that I've seen it. Most wolves are supposed to run away. I know it's similar with coyotes, so I'm hoping it's the same thing. Now finally, I'm going to lump all rodents and smaller animals into one category. Marmots, mice, rabbits, raccoons, chipmunks, skunks, etc. These animals are only dangerous if they become habituated to humans, so don't feed the wildlife. It's important if you're camping to keep your food secure and out of reach of these animals, because they'll chew into your bags to get into the food and the smellables. These critters are adorable, but they carry diseases, so you don't want to touch them or have them unexpectedly leave feces in your food supplies that could cause you to get sick. Now, I know this was in no way an inclusive list of all of Colorado's animals. So if you have a question about a specific animal I didn't mention, let me know. Remember, if you're scared of encountering animals while hiking, your trekking pole is your first line of defense against 2- and 4-legged creatures. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you continue to watch more episodes, especially since I've added some of my wildlife encounters to play directly after this post. If they don't automatically play, the links are in the description. And to help me keep these episodes coming, please ask me your questions. Thanks for watching, and remember, I want you to win at life and enjoy the adventure.